I think it's fair to say that I shamelessly stole stuff. Or I shamelessly stole the spirit of the end for Loaded, and there was a nod of thanks in the first ever staff list. Loaded was very different to the end, but it was in my mind that there had been a publication before that had covered music and football, and that's all Loaded ever was supposed to be.
Well, it's a load of rubbish really, isn't it? I think that Loaded and this whole lad culture is like more or less the complete antithesis of what the end was about.
I'm very, very surprised that Loaded had ever heard of the end, because it's so unlike it.
I think because the media is a middle-class ghetto and it's populated by people like James Brown, for instance, like the whole thing that we're trying to reflect was really just a bunch of like university-educated lads playing out their pro fantasies.
It said in Loaded, all the scallies are wearing this.
I think the style of writing is still prevalent. You look a lot of articles in the new men's magazines. There's a lot of similarities, I think, like the stuff that Mick and Peter wrote. That sardonic, cynical view of life.
I'd say a magazine like Loaded was probably a 90s sort of nationwide equivalent of the end. But it's not funny, and the end was funny.
The nearest thing I'd say to this day would be Private Eye, because they name names, and obviously they're in the law courts every other week, aren't they? Because we were in a big operation, people said, well, it's not worth suing them, it's bringing attention,
It never really got anywhere near the credit it should have done, because it was a forerunner of, like, as you say, like Loaded and all the rest of it, and this whole new lad culture, which I think the end would despise, because they seem to be striving towards something, although it was in a very kind of subtle way. They were striving towards something good, something positive.
Maybe we gave up too early, but who knows, maybe we'll come back.
The end, if it did nothing else, came out of nowhere and embraced and celebrated ordinary people who liked going to football matches on a Saturday afternoon and of a midweek, and had a certain sort of cynical view of the world and understood each other but had nothing which united them. And the end did that, first of all in Liverpool, but latterly around the country as its name and reputation spread.
Them years up to when it finished, it still retained that sort of authentic voice of sort of the urban working class, and it inspired me to actually start writing.
Everything about it was just perfect. It can't be equalled. It certainly can't be surpassed. In its time and in its place, it was like a Bible.
Well, I'm dead proud I was involved in it. People still talk about it. I went for an interview for a university, and midway through the interview, the tutor barged in, said, "You did the drawings for the end," and I was like in midstream talking about Jean-Paul Sartre and all my influences and stuff, and he just like brought me crashing down to realism. Nice one. I got into university, so that doesn't matter.
It's become mythology, and like many publications, the myth of the end is greater than the contents, I think. In fact, it was a load of crap, wasn't it?
A lot of it was rubbish. A lot of it was good. But I look back and read, and it still makes me laugh. I wish I was still doing it.